What's good, YouTube fam? Yesterday I made a video discussing the options of Chris Paul this offseason. This morning I woke up to a Chris Paul trade to Houston. What is going on in the NBA? The NBA is in complete scramble mode just like I predicted. In this video, I'm going to talk about CP3 in Houston and why I didn't see this coming. Houston traded Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams, Sam Dekker, and the first round pick next year for Chris Paul. In my last video, I stated the two options I felt Chris Paul had this offseason. I said he could either A, re-sign with the Clippers for a 5-year deal worth over $200 million, or B, sign with a top contender like San Antonio, for example, for a 4-year deal around $150 million. In an unexpected turn of events, Chris Paul opted into his current contract and orchestrated a trade to Houston. This move will cost Chris Paul directly around $11 million this year alone. But Houston now has maybe the best backcourt of all time with Chris Paul and James Harden. This move on paper seems like something that should worry the Golden State Warriors, who before this move seemed untouchable. However, I don't see how this move is practical on court. Houston now has two ball-dominant guards in a Mike D'Antoni point guard centered system, a system that allowed James Harden to average 11.2 assists last season and finish number 2 in the MVP voting. He finished his last season with 4 more assists per game than he ever had before. Adding an assist first point guard in Chris Paul doesn't seem like the best move. However, it will be very interesting next season to see how Paul and Harden learn to coexist. Because as Golden State showed us last year, the league is now about star power. Houston now has 2 all-time guards in their prime. Now it's up to Mike D'Antoni to figure this thing out. Defensively, however, Chris Paul as a 7-time all-defensive teamer is every bit the defender that Patrick Beverley was for Houston last season. So replacing the offensive limited Beverley with Chris Paul and allowing Harden to be able to play off the ball more may turn exactly to be what Houston needed to take that next level to compete with Golden State. Last season, Houston lost in 6 games in the second round to San Antonio, in a Game 6 where James Harden seemed to completely unravel. Harden only had 10 points and shot 2 for 11 from the field, with a plus-minus of -28. Was it fatigue that doomed James Harden, who played in every game but one last season for the Rockets? Adding a top point guard in Chris Paul should relieve some pressure off James Harden, as Houston now has 2 top 10 players in the NBA. Like I said, I don't see how this trade is very practical for Houston, but it sure makes the Western Conference a lot more interesting next season. And Rockets GM Daryl Morey might have some more up his sleeve this offseason, as reports say the Rockets are going after Paul George or Carmelo Anthony. Will they be able to get one? We're going to have to find out later. I'll catch everybody in the next video.